The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Carl Jung. You wake up one morning and realize everyone else seems to be moving forward. Your friends are building careers, starting families, making commitments, but you're still waiting for something, a sign, a feeling, the right moment to finally become an adult. That moment never comes. Maybe you know this feeling. One foot in the world of responsibility, the other clinging to the freedom of youth. You tell yourself, I just need to figure things out first. Maybe next year. I'm not ready yet. And so, time passes. For some men, this is just a phase. They eventually step into adulthood. But for others, it becomes a lifetime pattern, a cycle of avoidance, procrastination, and fleeting pleasures. Instead of building something lasting, you chase distractions. Endless entertainment, casual relationships, short-lived ambitions. Anything to avoid the weight of true responsibility. Carl Jung had a name for this: puer aeternus, the eternal boy. A man who, on the surface, seems adventurous, creative, maybe even charismatic, but deep down he's trapped, afraid of commitment, allergic to stability, constantly searching for meaning while avoiding the very things that create it. This isn't just your struggle. It's a growing cultural phenomenon. More and more men find themselves emotionally stranded, caught between the expectations of adulthood and the comfort of prolonged adolescence. Have you ever known a man who seems to have endless potential but never actually does anything with it? He's always talking about big plans, but nothing ever happens. He expects others to pick up the pieces, to save him from his own mess. He's more interested in drinking with friends or playing video games than planning for the future. At 22, this looks like freedom. At 35, it looks like stagnation. The same habits that once felt rebellious now feel empty. The world moves on, but you're stuck in place. This is the paradox of our entertainment culture. It sells you the idea that responsibility is something to fear, that growing up is optional. But reality doesn't care. At some point, you have to choose. Stay a spectator in your own life, or step up and start living it. Jung believed that when you avoid your own psychological growth, life doesn't stop. Only you do. The eternal boy spends his youth running from responsibility, chasing pleasure, avoiding the weight of real life. But time moves forward, whether you want it to or not. The distractions that once felt magical lose their shine. One day, you wake up and realize the world has changed, but you haven't. You can no longer numb yourself. For some, this is the beginning of real transformation. Hitting rock bottom forces you to face the truth. You recognize the freedom you clung to was an illusion. You start to integrate the parts of yourself you ignored, your fears, your suppressed potential, your unrealized ambitions. You stop running and begin to build. But for others, the weight of regret becomes overwhelming. Jung warned, without individuation, without confronting your deeper self, you become trapped in unconscious cycles. Repeating the same patterns, blaming the world, growing bitter instead of growing up. The tragedy isn't refusing to grow up. It's believing you have forever to do so. By the time you realize time has passed you by, you're left wondering if you were ever truly free, or if you spent your whole life avoiding the only thing that could have given you fulfillment. So where does this begin? Often, it starts with a childhood wound. Maybe you grew up with parents who did everything for you. They protected you from every failure, every disappointment. You never learned to solve your own problems. You never learned to take responsibility for your actions. Or maybe you were praised for your potential, but never for your effort. You learned to dream, but not to do, to imagine, but not to build. This is the root of the struggle. A hidden voice that says, you're not ready, you're not enough, someone else will take care of it. So, you wait. You drift. you avoid. But the cost is high. You start to feel like an outsider in your own life. You watch others move forward while you stay stuck. You blame circumstances, parents, partners, the world. But deep down, you know the truth. You're afraid. Afraid of failing. Afraid of losing your freedom. Afraid of what it means to truly grow up. This is the conflict, the trap. You attach yourself to your own potential, but never act on it. You become addicted to chaos, to the thrill of starting over, to the comfort of being taken care of. You betray yourself again and again. You say, "I'll change tomorrow," but tomorrow never comes. So, what's the way out? Jung believed the answer is integration. You have to face your shadow, the parts of yourself you avoid. You have to stop running from discomfort and start building something real. The first step, stop justifying your avoidance. No more blaming others. No more waiting for the perfect moment. Acknowledge where you are, without shame. The second step, start affirming your own agency. You are not powerless. You can choose to act, even if you're afraid. You can choose to build, even if you're uncertain. The third step, choose your peace over your fear. Stop chasing distractions. Start creating meaning. Commit to something, anything, that matters to you. Because maturity isn't something that happens to you. It's something you choose. You don't have to give up your dreams, your creativity, your sense of wonder. You just have to bring them into harmony with responsibility. Balance discipline with spontaneity, vision with action, freedom with commitment. This is how you grow. This is how you move forward. It's not easy, but the alternative is staying exactly where you are. So ask yourself, do you keep running, or do you take control of your own life? Write this down. I choose my peace over fear. And if you're ready to keep growing, keep questioning, keep healing, subscribe, join this journey, because you're not alone. And today, you can begin. Let's talk about what it really looks like when a man never grows up. You might think it's just about refusing to pay bills or skipping out on chores, but it goes deeper than that. It's in the way some men blame everyone else for their problems. Maybe you've seen it. A guy who loses his job, and it's always the boss's fault. Or his relationship falls apart, and suddenly his partner is the villain. He never stops to ask, what was my part in this? Instead, he points the finger again and again. It's exhausting to be around, isn't it? You try to help, but nothing changes. He can't handle criticism either. Even the gentlest feedback feels like an attack. You say, maybe you could try it this way, and he shuts down. He sulks, gets defensive, maybe even lashes out. It's like walking on eggshells. You start to wonder if it's worth saying anything at all. But the cycle keeps repeating. Sometimes he turns to manipulation, using guilt, emotional blackmail, or silent treatment to get his way. Maybe you felt it, that subtle pressure, that sense you're being controlled. He withholds affection until you give in, or threatens to leave if things don't go his way. It's not healthy, but it's familiar, and it leaves you drained. He also avoids responsibility at all costs. If there's a bill to pay, he forgets. If there's a deadline, he misses it. If something goes wrong, someone else has to clean up the mess. You end up picking up the slack. You become the parent, not the partner. He stays in the comfort of boyhood while you carry the weight of adulthood. It's not just about laziness. It's about fear. Fear of failing. Fear of not measuring up. Fear of what it means to truly step into manhood. He craves attention, praise, admiration. He shows off, exaggerates, fishes for compliments. But when life gets tough, he crumbles. He can't cope without someone telling him he's enough. It's a loop that never ends. Carl Jung called this the puer aeternus, the eternal boy. A man who clings to youth, who fears the weight of adulthood. He lives in a fantasy world, always dreaming, never doing. He wants freedom, but not the responsibility that comes with it. He resists boundaries, avoids limits, and sees any restriction as unbearable. This attitude keeps him from making real choices. He avoids commitment, whether it's in relationships, work, or even his own growth. He lives a provisional life, always waiting, never acting. Plans for the future dissolve into daydreams. Nothing ever gets built. He never learned to trust himself. And so, he stays dependent. Maybe you know someone just like this. Or maybe, deep down, you see some of these patterns in yourself. It's not about shame. It's about understanding. Jung said the eternal boy is an archetype A pattern in the human psyche. It has both light and shadow. The light is creativity, hope, potential. The shadow is avoidance, fear, and refusal to grow. We sell the idea that being young is the best it gets. Adulthood is painted as boring, restrictive, something to avoid. But real life asks us to grow, to face challenges, to build something that lasts, to become more than just a collection of dreams. So, what can you do? First, stop justifying the behavior, whether it's your own or someone else's. No more making excuses, no more blaming the world. Second, start affirming your own power. You are capable. You can learn, grow, and change. You can take responsibility for your life. Third, choose to build one step at a time. Pick something, anything, and commit. A relationship, a job, a skill. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Remember, you don't have to give up your dreams, but you do have to act on them. You have to bring them into reality. That's how you grow up. That's how you move forward. Write this down. I build my life one choice at a time. And if you want to keep learning, keep growing, stay with me. Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the emotional side of the man-child. You notice it in the way he handles feelings. Everything stays at the surface. He cracks jokes when things get serious. He avoids talking about what hurts or what he truly wants. If you ask him how he feels, he shrugs or changes the subject. He can't be vulnerable, not even with those closest to him. It's not just about being shy, it's a fear of being truly seen. He keeps his walls up, terrified that if anyone gets too close, they'll see the uncertainty inside. He's mastered the art of charm, but real intimacy? That's too risky. So he keeps conversations light, never letting anyone in. When life gets tough, he falls apart. He doesn't know how to regulate his emotions. If something goes wrong, he might lash out, blaming others, sulking, or giving the silent treatment. He's missing the emotional resilience that adulthood demands. He never learned to sit with disappointment, to process pain, to move forward with grace. Instead, he expects others to fix things for him. He needs constant validation. Every small achievement requires applause. If he washes a dish, he wants to be celebrated. He talks about himself, fishing for compliments, needing reassurance that he's enough. But no amount of praise can fill the emptiness inside. He's always searching for someone to make him feel whole. This isn't just a personal failing, it's a cultural pattern. Our society often encourages men to stay in this limbo. There's even a name for it, Guyland, a stage where young men drift, avoiding the demands of adulthood, clinging to the safety of boyhood. They move from job to job, live with friends or parents, and fill their days with entertainment and fleeting thrills. Responsibility feels like a trap. Commitment feels like a loss of freedom. But Jung would say this is the puer aeternus, the eternal child who fears being tied down, who lives in fantasies of what could be, but never takes decisive action. He dreams of independence, but every boundary feels like a prison. He fears that if he chooses one path, he'll lose all others. So he chooses nothing. He lives a provisional life, always waiting for the perfect moment, but never acting. He's haunted by dreams of being trapped, cages, chains, bars. Life itself feels like a prison. but the bars are made of his own fears. The shadow side of this archetype is the senex, the old man, disciplined and responsible. But the man-child resists this, seeing order as suffocating. He stays wild, unbounded, but also rootless. Sometimes, this pattern is rooted in early family dynamics. Maybe his parents sheltered him from every hardship. Or maybe they were absent, leaving him to fend for himself emotionally. Either way, he never learned to trust himself, to handle life's challenges. He clings to anyone willing to take care of him, a partner, a parent, a friend. He fears loneliness, so he seeks out caretakers, but never truly stands on his own. And our culture doesn't help. We glorify youth, sell the myth that growing up means losing joy. But real adulthood isn't about losing wonder. It's about building something lasting. Here's what you can do right now. Stop justifying emotional avoidance. Name what you feel, even if it's uncomfortable. Start affirming your ability to handle hard emotions. Tell yourself, I can sit with discomfort and still move forward. Choose to build emotional resilience. Practice sharing honestly with someone you trust, even if it scares you. Write this down. I am capable of facing my feelings and growing from them. If this resonates, stay connected, subscribe, keep exploring, and let's keep growing together. You're not alone on this path. Let's open a new chapter. The hidden role of the devouring mother. Carl Jung warned us, sometimes the reason a man never grows up isn't just about him. It's about the relationship he had, or still has, with his mother, or a mother-like figure. Picture this. A mother who does everything for her son. She picks up after him, shields him from every mistake, always steps in when he struggles. It looks like love, but it quietly steals his autonomy. He never learns to solve problems or face discomfort. He grows up expecting the world, and especially women, to care for him, to comfort him, to never challenge him. This dynamic can be literal, a real mother who overprotects. Or it can be symbolic, a partner who becomes the caretaker, a grandmother, any nurturing figure who unconsciously demands loyalty in return for endless support. The result? A man who seeks not a partner, but a substitute mother. He wants someone who understands him without confrontation, who accepts him without limits, who supports him without asking for accountability. It's a comfortable, but deeply destructive symbiosis. He remains in a state of emotional childhood, waiting for others to resolve what he refuses to face himself. And often, the mother figure is trapped too. She believes she's helping, but she's feeding a cycle of dependency that drains both their vitality. Jung said the greatest tragedy is when the mother refuses to let the child be born, psychologically. The body ages, but the psyche stays childlike, waiting for comfort instead of seeking grounding in the real world. This becomes even more serious in adult relationships. He falls in love quickly, idealizes his partner, and expects her to fill all his inner voids. But as soon as the relationship demands depth, commitment, or responsibility, he flees, sabotages, or blames. It's a repeating pattern, seeking rescue, then running from reality. Let's talk about what this looks like in everyday life. He might avoid responsibility, dodging blame, refusing to own mistakes, always pointing fingers. He struggles with commitment. Jobs, relationships, even hobbies feel too heavy, so he keeps things casual and non-committal. He acts impulsively, making decisions on a whim without considering the consequences for himself or others. He uses humor to deflect serious conversations, never letting things get too real. He has difficulty admitting he's wrong, twisting narratives or playing the victim to avoid accountability. He refuses to invest in the future, no plans, no savings, no long-term goals, living only for the next thrill. And he constantly seeks validation, fishing for compliments, and needing reassurance to feel okay. These behaviors aren't just annoying, they're deeply draining for everyone around him. Partners, friends, even colleagues end up carrying the weight of his immaturity. It's a cycle that can only be broken by facing the root. The need to separate from the devouring mother and step into true adulthood. So what can you do if you see yourself or someone you love in this pattern? Stop justifying the comfort of dependency. Recognize where support has become a trap. Start affirming your own autonomy. Practice making decisions, even small ones, and standing by them. Choose to face discomfort. Growth happens when you stop running from what's hard and start building resilience. Write this down. I release the need for rescue and choose to stand on my own. If this speaks to you, stay on this journey, subscribe, keep exploring, and let's break the cycle together. Because real maturity begins when you claim your life as your own. Let's explore a powerful subtopic, the provisional life, a core pattern of the man-child, or as Jung called it, the puer aeternus. You know the feeling, always waiting for life to start, but never actually starting. The provisional life is living as if everything is temporary. You drift from job to job, relationship to relationship, never committing fully. Plans are always for now. Nothing is ever final. You might say, I'll figure it out soon, but soon never comes. This isn't just indecision. It's a deep fear of being trapped, of making the wrong choice, of losing possibilities. Jung saw this as a refusal to individuate, to become your own person, to integrate your shadow, to step into adulthood with all its risks and rewards. Instead, you stay in chicken flight mode, short bursts of effort, then retreat. You avoid settling down, hoping something better will appear. The result? Years pass, and you realize you're still in the same place. You watch others build careers, families, and meaning while you remain on the sidelines. It's not laziness, it's fear disguised as freedom. You may even pride yourself on being spontaneous or adventurous, but underneath, there's anxiety. What if I commit and regret it? What if I fail? This pattern often begins with unresolved family dynamics, never fully separating from your parents, never developing your own identity. Sometimes it's the legacy of a devouring mother or an absent father, leaving you unsure how to stand on your own. So you live in a perpetual maybe, never a definite yes. Here's what you can do to break the cycle. Stop justifying indecision. Recognize when you're avoiding choices out of fear, not wisdom. Start affirming small commitments. Pick one thing, however minor, and follow through. Choose to build your own path. Even if it's imperfect, action is the antidote to endless waiting. Write this down. I choose action over endless waiting. If this speaks to you, keep listening, keep reflecting, and let's step out of the provisional life together. Because real growth begins the moment you decide to move forward, no matter how small the step.